Hey, man.
You want me to start off with a joke for you?
Yeah, do it. Rip it, man. He might call you up, by the way.
I didn't get your.
Yeah, the phone call. So what that's about is after we had this chat at the way the boss
Because Holland told me it's been like he's doing Zoom.
Yeah.
And just wanted and stuff like that. So,
If you go into this
yeah, this one is probably.
I was kind of calling off, so I called you.
Well, you know, I'm always available for stuff.
I know you're right.
So, but I want to make sure we're good. I don't think that's a backbench. I don't think that's not a reaching. Jeff told me, I asked him about how they're typically run. He said, Chief never goes. He said he always goes after the Chief. Some stuff he said scary. Carey's going.
He's done.
Carey's going. Simmons, a deputy cleaner, is out.
I don't know.
Jeff told me Monday. Supposed to on Monday make it official. He thought it would be official. We're gonna have a coronation.
Good morning. Testing. Good morning. 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. Good morning. My name is David Pittman. I am the early deputy director. So much for a script. The ceremony will begin momentarily. So I ask you to please be seated and turn off your cell phone if you don't mind and any other electronic devices. We're going to kick off in about 2 minutes. So I'm going to turn mine off too. Are we ready? Yeah.
Mine's still on, so what we're
Still on?
going to do
Another
is,
2 minute warning?
no sir, don't do that. What we're going to do is when you see us close the door, that means we're going to have them outside. We're going to try to push people as fast as
That's my cues when you close the door.
When we close the door is your cue, sir.
All right.
If they can, they'll start filling up. They're trying to get some more of the VIPs down here.
Full house. All right, doors closing. There we go. Ready? You ready? All right, got him a coat there.
And here's his speech.
His speech is there. Let's see. You want to kind of set it here,
Yeah.
and that way he can grab it. Are we good now? Ready? We good? Well, folks, I think we're getting ready. We got an abundance of guests today, and so I appreciate your patience and tolerance as we get started. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Welcome to the retirement ceremony in honor of Dr. Jeffrey P. Holland, Director of the U.S. Army Engineer Research and Development Center. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation delivered by Reverend Matt Buckles of the First Baptist Church, Vicksburg. Reverend Buckles, would you please join us up front for our invocation?
Holy Scripture bears testimony in Proverbs 28:20, the faithful man abounds in many blessings. And this ceremony today is testimony to that. Jeff, you abound in many blessings. Let's pray. Our righteous and heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for this special occasion in Jeff and Janet's life. And Father, I pray that today would both be an affirmation to him of the career that you've led him to have here in Vicksburg, touching not only this community, this county, this state, this nation, and the world. And Father, I pray that it would also be a time of encouragement to him as he moves into a new chapter of his life. We thank you for this great nation that we have, that we can have the great freedom of liberty and conscience to come and gather. And Father, to know that this is a great land, and help each one of us to do our part in continuing to make our nation strong. I pray your blessings on this ceremony today and the luncheon to follow. And Father, may the memories from this faithful career, the joy of this day, both be an affirmation and an encouragement to Jeff and Janet. We thank you for the friends that are here, for the committed workers that are on this base, for men and women who have given their lives in the defense of our nation, and Father, in research and leadership that continues to bless our nation. We thank you, O Holy God, because you were the one who has created us and brought all this into existence. We thank you for your great love that we know in your Son. And again, we just come to you with joy in our hearts for this special day, praying that you would continue to be faithful in blessing this faithful man. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. On behalf of our host for today's ceremony, Lieutenant General Todd Semonite, 54th Chief of Engineers and Commanding General, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a few of the many distinguished visitors joining us today. From our state and local government, Mr. Chris Richardson, representing Senator Thad Cochran, Mississippi Senator Briggs Hobson, the Honorable George Flaggs, Mayor of the City of Vicksburg. From our Corps and ERDIC leadership, as well as many distinguished members of the Senior Executive Service and general officers, both active and retired. Lieutenant General Semonite, Commanding General, Army Corps of Engineers. Major General Ed Jackson, the USA's Deputy Commanding General for Civil and Emergency Operations. Major General Mike Weir, Commander, Mississippi Valley Division. Major General retired Bo Temple, former Acting Chief of Engineers and former USA's Deputy Commanding General. Mr. James Dalton, USA's Director of Civil Works. Mr. Lloyd Caldwell, USA's Director of Military Programs. Mr. Tom Holden, Regional Business Director, Mississippi Valley Division. Mr. Jim Bodron, Programs Director, Mississippi Valley Division. Brigadier General retired Robert Creer, former Commander, Mississippi Valley Division. Hooah. Hooah. Got to get that hooah. ERDIC Lab Directors, Dr. Ilkarad Gazelle, Dr. Bert Davis, Mr. Bart Durst, Dr. Beth Fleming, Dr. Joe Fontanello, Dr. Reed Mosier, and Dr. Jose Sanchez. Great. Dr. Jim Houston, ERDIC Director Emeritus. Dr. Robert Whalen, West Director Emeritus. Dr. John Cullinane, former ERDIC Deputy Director. Colonel Brian Green, ERDIC Commander. Ms. Pat Sullivan, ERDIC Associate Director. She's here. Believe me, she's here. And Colonel Mike DeRosier, Commander of the Vicksburg District. From our state universities and partners, Dr. David Shaw, Dr. Roger King, and Dr. Marty Fuller from Mississippi State University. and Dr. Josh Gladden, University of Mississippi. Most importantly, I want to welcome the Holland family. Dr. Holland is joined today by his wife of almost 35 years, Janet. They want to see you. Their daughter, Megan. Thank you, Megan. Their son, Eric, and daughter-in-law, Martha. Just made it in late last night. His sister, Judy Hammond, and his niece, Susan Spencer. Janet's parents, Rex and Mary Jane Brown, could not make it. Okay. Janet's brother, Bobby, and his wife, Kathy. And Dr. Holland's cousin, Cruz Smith. All right. Okay. Today, we not only honor Dr. Holland for his 37 and a half years of service, but we also honor his family for their enduring love and commitment to him. It would be impossible for any Army leader to be successful without the support of a loving family and the sacrifices they make on a regular basis so that he can serve our nation. They too have served. To the Holland family, we thank you for all you have done. Of course, we also want to welcome the many friends and coworkers of Dr. Holland who have joined us here today. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to be here with us today. We are honored by your presence. Please join me in extending a warm USACE welcome to all of our very special guests. This morning's retirement ceremony is a landmark occasion, not only for Dr. Holland, but also for his family, friends, and colleagues, not to mention the organization he leaves behind. In keeping with our core and early tradition, the ceremony today reflects upon Dr. Holland's distinguished and stellar career of achievement, while acknowledging his countless contributions and lasting impacts. Today is our time to express appreciation on behalf of the Army and a grateful nation, and to bid a fond farewell to a tremendous leader, a visionary professional, and a friend. Before Dr. Holland is officially retired, we have a few video tributes from his colleagues and friends, many of whom who cannot join us today. Cue video.
Hello from Washington. I'm Senator Roger Wicker, and I want to add my well wishes for Dr. Jeffrey Holland on this special day. Dr. Holland's 37 years of public service have made our military better, the Army Corps of Engineers better, and our nation better. As director of the Army Engineer Research and Development Center in Vicksburg, Dr. Holland has managed 7 laboratories with more than 2,000 employees in 4 states. We all thank him for his steadfast dedication to meeting challenges with solutions, whether it's for our soldiers in combat or our communities at risk of flooding. Dr. Holland, congratulations on your retirement.
Dr. Holland, I want to congratulate you on your retirement, and I want to say thank you for your many years of service as the director of the Army Engineer Research and Development Center. You've done a great job for our country. We're better off because of it. But don't forget about us. We know that you'll be having other things on your plate, but we know it'll be something that you'll enjoy. And we just hope that God will continue to bless you in all you do, and we thank you.
Well, Dr. Holland, you always taught us that N is for knowledge. We appreciate everything you've done for the Corps in terms of knowledge management. I'm gonna miss you. I think most of all, I'm going to miss your dry sense of humor because I love it. Bye.
Good afternoon, Dr. Holland. I know that you know who I am, Brigadier General Mark Toy, and I came all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio to see you, and you're in Washington, D.C., and I don't understand why you would do that to me knowing that I'm coming here. But you can see I'm in this beautiful office here right now, and I wanted to really just say to you how much I have appreciated you over the years. You know, in the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division, our motto is building strong and taking care of people. And taking care of people is something that you have done over the years for as long as I can remember. When I was a major, when I really first came into the Corps, Dr. Jeff Holland has always been there, providing guidance to us younger officers and the Department of the Army civilians that are all around. So I just want to wish you the best to you and your family from the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division. I have a coin for you that says building strong and taking care of people. I'm going to leave it here on your desk. And I want you to take a look at this and remember that all of us, all the 4,400 folks in the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division, think of you and thank you for your service to the nation. All the best to you. I don't know what it's going to be like being at a governance meeting and not hearing your voice in the background. Where's Jeff Holland? I know you'll be something that's well deserved. Take care.
Hey, Dr. Holland, it's Sue, of course, calling you from the Pentagon, or talking to you from the Pentagon. Really, really sorry I couldn't be at your retirement. I'll miss you stopping by my office, talking about many, many different things and exciting things and maybe not so exciting things. And I know you're gonna have a wonderful time in retirement. I hope you stay in touch. And again, have a wonderful day on your retirement day. And please let me know where I can get hold of you once you're off the USA's email. Thanks, John. Take care. Bye-bye.
Jeff, I want to congratulate you on many years of good service to Erdek and to our community. I want you to know, too, that I still have some bruises from those years of basketball that we played together at First Baptist Church. I think a few have healed, but I've got some more on the rib cage that are still getting me from those sharp elbows that you landed on. But seriously, I'm grateful for your work in our community. I really am grateful for you assimilating Erdek and its employees into Vicksburg and Warren County and into the fabric of our society. I wish you all the best in your retirement. I'm counting on you staying here in our community and continuing to do good work, but I thank you for all the good work you've done in the past. So best wishes in retirement, Jeff. Thanks.
Well, this is Mayor George Flagler. It's a great opportunity for me to speak how we enjoyed my good friend, Dr. Holland at Erdek, and how we also share the same birthday. And to Dr. Holland, on behalf of the citizens of Vicksburg and me personally, I want to thank you for all that you've done, and I know that you'll be around because I'm inviting you to stay here in Vicksburg and live here in Vicksburg so you can help me continue to share in your vision that you have for the city of Vicksburg. And again, thank you for all the service that you provided for the city of Vicksburg. And personally, I still want to continue to share your birthday with you, and congratulations.
Hi, Jeff. Just wanted to tell you congratulations on your promotion, and look forward to working with you in your next life, however that works out. Just really proud to have been able to be both a friend and a colleague over the last number of years, and especially in the last few years in the roles that both of us have played working together to be able to do things that have benefited the U.S. government, and the state of Mississippi, and our two institutions. And so I think this place is a much better place because of who you are and what you've done. And I'm just very proud to be able to call you a friend. And so again, congratulations, and very much looking forward to continuing our relationship.
All right. Wasn't that good? Okay, Dr. Holland, will you please come to center stage? At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Chris Richardson from Senator Thad Cochran's office to present Dr. Holland with a copy of the congressional record.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Chris Richardson. I'm with Senator Thad Cochran's office, and it is an absolute honor to be here with you today. I will apologize in advance. I left my reader glasses at my office. So I'm going to attempt to get through this and present Dr. Holland with a copy of the congressional record as entered 13 February 2017. And this is from my boss, Chairman Thad Cochran. Mr. President, I wish to commend Dr. Jeffrey P. Holland for 37 years of service to the United States Army Corps of Engineers. Dr. Holland will soon retire as Director of Research and Development and Director of the Corps of Engineers Research Center, Erdek, headquartered in Vicksburg, Mississippi. He is capping his career with a highly successful management term, leading one of the most diverse research organizations in the world. an organization that includes 7 laboratories in 4 states with over 2,000 employees, including more than 1,200 federal engineers and scientists. As Director of Research and Development and Chief Scientist for the Corps since 2010, Dr. Holland has effectively promoted its research missions, including warfighter support, military installations, the environment, water resources, and information technology. His work has enhanced our nation's knowledge and sparked innovation related to military and civilian missions of the Department of Defense and other agencies. His leadership in research and development led to numerous achievements, among them increased soldier survivability and improved unit protection in combat zones. He distinguished himself within the senior executive service with his work to establish excellence in human capital benchmarks, to develop an enterprise knowledge management and technology transfer plan for the Corps, and to develop a science and technology initiative to improve Defense Department acquisition. Over his long career, Dr. Holland earned a reputation as a strong leader and coalition builder who empowered thousands of engineers and scientists to find new ways to solve problems. His career has resulted in significant and lasting contributions to the Department of the Army, the Department of Defense, the Vicksburg community, and the nation. His distinguished tenure and outstanding accomplishments are in keeping with the highest standards of civilian service and reflect great credit upon him, the Department of the Army, and the Department of Defense. I am pleased to commend Dr. Holland for his many years of service and to wish him well in the years ahead. Dr. Holland, congratulations, sir.
You stay there. Okay. Thank you. Don't go yet. During Dr. Holland's tenure as director, he has been a strong advocate for the city of Vicksburg, and he has brought some of the best and brightest to work in our community. At this time, I'd like to invite the Honorable George Flaggs, Mayor of the city of Vicksburg, for a presentation on behalf of the city. Sir. Thank you, sir.
To the honoree, Dr. Jeffrey Hollins and Ms. First Lady Hollins and to the Hollins family, and certainly to all the ladies and gentlemen that are here today, it's my profound honor to be here today on behalf of the city of Vicksburg to congratulate and to thank Dr. Hollins for the 37 years of service he brought to our community. But Dr. Holland, I would be remiss if I didn't share with you and this audience my first meeting with you as mayor of the city of Vicksburg. I can remember finally getting a meeting on his schedule, and I proceeded in his office after being escorted to his office, and I began to, and he said, well, you got 30 minutes to tell me what you got to tell me. I confess, Dr. Holland, you scared that out of me, but I kept my composure and I continued to talk. But you know, from a 30-minute conversation that I was allowed, we ended up talking an hour and a half. And I did most of the listening. But because of that, I think the transformation that you see in the city of Vicksburg is because I was able to meet with him. You see, it was Dr. Hollins that shared with me that if you want to be successful in Vicksburg as mayor of Vicksburg, then you should evolve the city of Vicksburg around Erdick. No other mayor had ever done that before. And then from then I listened, and he also said that you should get all of your colleagues from the legislature, being the governor and others, et cetera, to visit Erdick. Because Erdick was one of the biggest secrets, not only in Vicksburg and to Mississippi and to this nation, matter of fact, because none of us knew all the things that was going on. But because of that, I think this transformation and the future of Vicksburg and what you're about to see in our educational system, in our community, and certainly in our economic development of the future of this city we owe it to Dr. Holland because it was that scaredy out of me that I took that conversation. So Dr. Holland, on the behalf of all the citizens of Vicksburg and certainly the Mayor Board of Aldermen, I'd like to present you with a plaque that reads, the city of Vicksburg, Mississippi is proud to honor Dr. Jeffrey P. Holland in appreciation for your commitment, dedication, and service as the Director of the United States Army Engineer Research and Development Center. Congratulations on your retirement. We thank you for your many years of leadership and service to our community. You will be dearly missed, and we wish you all the best that life has to offer. George Flagg's Mayor, Michael Mayfield, North Ward Alderman, and Willis Thompson, South Ward Alderman. And Dr. Hollins, again, on behalf of the citizen of Vicksburg, as Mayor of the city of Vicksburg, I am, again, highly honored to present you this proclamation. I'll read it in part, where it says that proclamation honoring Dr. Jeffrey P. Holland upon his retirement. Whereas Dr. Jeffrey P. Holland became the Director of the United States Army Engineer Research and Development Center, ERDIT, in January 2010, as the Director, Dr. Holland managed one of the most diverse research organizations in the world, 7 laboratories in 4 states, with more than 2,500 employees and a 1.2 billion S&B, as you told me, in the facility, and the annual program exceeding 1.1 S&B billion. And now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, George Flagg, as Mayor of this, on behalf of the Honorable Michael Mayfield, North Ward Alderman, and the Honorable Willis Thompson, South Ward Alderman of the city of Vicksburg, do hereby proclaim March the 2nd, this day, 2017, as Dr. Jeffrey Holland's Day in the city of Vicksburg. And extend my best wishes upon your retirement and for continued success in life pursuit. May God continue to bless you and your family. Proclaim this 2nd day of March, George Flagg, Mayor of the city of Vicksburg. All right.
We go to dinner tonight, we'll tell them it's Jeff Holland Day.
Sit down. Thank you, sir.
Now?
Yeah.
Now, sit down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Holland, you may be seated.
Is that what it says?
That's what it says. I'm just reading what it says. While we welcome General Simonite to the podium, ladies and gentlemen, our host for today's ceremony, Lieutenant General Todd Simonite, our Chief of Engineers.
Boy, I do a lot of retirements. I've done an awful lot over the years, distinguished soldiers, senior generals. I'm not sure I've ever had the distinction of doing one of this importance, Jeff. This is a big deal, 37 and a half years. I want to first of all welcome the VIPs that are here. Mr. Mayor, thanks for being here. Our congressional friends, of course, those from academia that are here. Obviously, a lot of senior Corps of Engineer leaders. We've got a lot of people from the community, people from industry, but really to the people from ERDIC, this is a big day for you, okay? A big change here, and we really want to thank you for being here. You know, in a couple minutes, we're going to give you all this stuff on this table, and you're going to go take it home in your trunk tonight, and you're all going to kind of figure out where's it all going to go. And that's probably what one might think if somebody's never been in retirement of what reflects. It's a great service. But I think when you look at the faces that are here, Jeff and I were out in the hall. I don't know if you guys know you're all on video right now. So out in the hall, you can all see it. And we looked around at the faces of the people that were here. I think their presence is probably the biggest single thing that you're going to take out of here. The words that have been said, the words will be said in the next couple of minutes. Obviously, at lunch, we're going to do some more of this. But just the fact that they wanted to take time out of their schedule, came here at their cost to be able to help share in this special day is a big, big deal. Jeff is clearly a very distinguished leader. I mean, he's got all kinds of special awards, Presidential Rank Award, our Research and Development Awards, the Fleury Awards, Federal Laboratory Consortium Awards, but he really is somebody who is a hero in a lot of our minds for all those things he's done. Before I go a lot further, though, there's a couple other heroes here who I kind of want to talk about, and I think it's kind of reflective of the Holland family. Jeff said up front in some of the comments he made that some of the people that maybe shaped him the most were his mother and his father. His mother, Willie, instilled compassion and the pursuit of excellence in her son. His dad, Romer Holland, primary role model. CW4, a warrant officer in the Kentucky National Guard full-time for more than 30 years, and he expected excellence. And that's what Jeff, I mean, you got to follow somebody, and the fact you have parents that push you that direction. I think when you look at what Jeff and Janet have done with their children, I think we see the same level of expectations of excellence. So I'm going to embarrass these guys right now, but can Martha and Eric and Megan stand up? And I'm just going to stand up and turn around, okay? Now, I'm known to come with a mic and have you guys say something. I won't do that right now, but so let me just tell you here about excellence. When I was, I have 4 kids, and when I was bringing my kids up, when they were real young, we sit at the dinner table, you know, I really dumbed it down, but I kind of said when you grow up in life, you're going to do one of 2 things. This is probably pretty good guidance for, you know, 8 and 10-year-old kids. You're either going to have a job where you make money for some big company, and it's going to be driven by going to work for somebody else. Or you're going to have a job which is service-related. And you're going to either take care of people, or you're going to take care of your country, or you're going to take care of the environment and everything else. So just listen as I talk about some of these people here. So first of all, Martha is married to Eric. Martha's a dentist, so she's a doctor, high-end doctor. Eric, the son, obviously, is a physician, internal medical resident at the University of Virginia. And then Megan is, right now, she works at URTIC. She's a public affairs writer, MBA from Mississippi State. And I'm not sure who exactly wrote this, but to reflect maybe what all 3 of these think. And again, I think I've got 2 daughter-in-laws, so Martha, I'm gonna load you into the family team here, okay? Just listen to what they, I think the theme here. As children, our father would occasionally bring us to the office. We'd grumble and complain. Please don't make us go to that boring building with nothing but a whiteboard to draw on and a TV that only plays news and weather channels, okay? For you military, you know, you all have your kids in, there's a whiteboard. You're trying to do work, and they're sitting there on the whiteboard. You're trying to say, keep drawing, I got to have more work to do. They go on, they say, at this time, we were too young to understand the importance of the work he was doing. That changed drastically when we grew up and learned more about the URTIC mission, watching our father work tirelessly day after day to contribute. His leadership and work ethic helped shape who we are today and touched every part of our accomplishments. Whether it's running a marathon, surviving countless sleepless nights while on the path to become a doctor, or even following in his URTIC footsteps, he taught us faith, perseverance, and integrity, and we're forever grateful. And I say a lot about military children, but I say the same exact thing for federal employee children, okay? This is a big deal. Your dad didn't get to be great by doing it all on himself. You were able to support him because at some point he wasn't always there, he was working late at night, and at some point you have a little bit of this ownership of being able to say that he's a super person to be able to take care of us. Let's give these guys a big round of applause. So the real hero of this family is not Jeff, but it's Janet, and we're gonna give you some awards in a minute, so I'm not gonna ask her to stand up or come up, but again, just listen to this theme of service to community and service to URTIC. Preschool director at the Vicksburg Baptist Church for 25 years, former school teacher, graduate of Mississippi State, met at a Bible study here in the Vicksburg First Baptist Church, and some thoughts from Janet. God has blessed my husband with the insight and vision required to do the important work we so rely on him to do. Our family has made sacrifices along the way to support my husband's career, but it has been an incredible journey, and I could be not more proud of him. So I think that's pretty telling, okay? And I tell you, being a spouse, whether it's in uniform, whether it's just like our USA civilians who deploy, 11,000 people we've deployed, Jeff's been in combat zone, he's been in bad places as well. And so whether you're a soldier or whether you're a federal civilian, when you get on the airplane to go somewhere else and your family doesn't know what's gonna happen to you, the sacrifice you make and the commitment you make is just as strong. So let's give Jan a big round of applause, okay? So I'm going to kind of walk through a couple things here and kind of talk about a couple themes. There's probably been three things that have probably driven Jeff to be a world-class performer. And I'm using those words more and more in the Corps of Engineers. For those that don't know, we're the premier public engineering firm in the world. We do about $28 billion a year. We have 34,000 employees. But it's not the work, it's the people that really, really make a difference. Some of the things that Jeff has done, delivering solutions to challenges of national importance. The vision of the Corps of Engineers is engineering solutions for the nation's toughest challenge. The corollary to ERDIC is being able to find those solutions, the hardest R&D solutions, to allow us to be able to solve the nation's toughest issues. And Jeff has done that very, very well. Obviously, he's got a passion for satisfied customers who choose ERDIC time and again for their services. When you're a reimbursable organization, you have options. No, a lot of times you don't have to use this entity. You can go to somebody else. There's a lot of great labs out there. But when your customers come, not because they have to use you, because you're the best and you know you're going to get quality, that's what is a big deal. And it's very, very important, Jeff. And I think also state-of-the-art facilities. We still got a ways to go, but on your watch, you have made a significant impact. I just left Jeff's office, and I've known him for a long, long time. And I said, if there's three things you really, really want me to continue to try to champion, facilities was one of them. If we don't have the best places and the best equipment and the best R&D ability to be able to bring in the best and the brightest, we aren't going to be world-class. Jeff continues to solve problems by getting as close as possible to the people, the data, and the problems themselves in order to discover and deliver reliable solutions that ensure the nation is ready today and remains ready tomorrow. For those that might not know, we kind of look through a strategic leader, especially our senior civilian leaders, in 5 different lenses. So I'm going to kind of use those and just quickly talk about some of the accomplishments. They aren't Jeff's accomplishments. They're the team's accomplishment. He might have been the quarterback. He might have been the coach. He might have been the one setting the team up for success. But if there's anybody who wants to make sure that it's not his accomplishments, but it's yours, these are some of the things that you guys have done over the last 37 and a half years under Jeff's leadership. You have continued to lead the Corps to solve our toughest challenges. I told you about the vision and some of the things we're doing around the world today. And I was walking out to come here, and there was a bunch of people coming down as well. And one of you was sitting right here, and I grabbed a lady, I won't say who it was, and I said, if there's one thing that you wanted me to tell the whole community today of what the average employee, the ERDIC employee, thinks about Jeff Holland, what is it? And this nice lady said, he said, never slow down. Don't let grass grow underneath your feet. Keep pushing every single day. And that's the whole point about leading change. That's that first lens, is someone who's willing to make the hard calls. General Jackson, General Weir, we sit in these big executive meetings a lot of times, and everybody tries to be corporate and be very, very politically correct and say we're all going the right direction. If there's ever anybody to say, listen, guys, maybe there's a different way to go, or maybe we aren't doing it right. Somebody who has the candor to be able to challenge some of the things we're doing and continue to push, he's done that. I'll just rattle off a couple of things here. A lot of amazing technical solutions. Predicted hurricane surge and assessed levee stability for emergency management and flood risk. A lot of work after Sandy in New York and New Jersey. Captured and shared real-time data during flood fighting activities through ERDIC-developed mobile application technologies. Empowered the Corps and other federal agencies to conduct watershed and basin-wide analysis in support of system-scale versus project-scale water resource management, and also to enable the Department of Homeland Security to defeat terrorist threats. The Corps of Engineers is FEMA's engineer. When there's a problem with a disaster or a threat to America, the Corps of Engineers steps up. We need an R&D capability to be able to continue to make sure that we're providing that service. Jeff Holland's been that person. Jeff Holland, somebody leading change. Second big thing, leading people. A lot of people have talked about 7 labs, 4 states, et cetera. You know, several years ago, when right after 9/11, I mean, the workload surged dramatically, and we were doing a lot of work. The people surged. At the same time, though, we had more and more challenges in very technical organizations being the best and the brightest. I want the smartest 22-year-olds that are graduating our universities to come to work for the Corps of Engineers. I want them to come to work for the federal government. That doesn't happen by itself with some of the pay schools. So Jeff's been very, very aggressive of getting out there to be able to make sure that this is one of the best laboratories. There's laboratories all throughout DOD, an awful lot of them. There's big Air Force labs, Navy labs. This laboratory, this system of 7, is one of the big top 4. And so when they bring the 4 big labs in, and who's in the room to be able to shape where DOD is going to go, Jeff Holland's the guy sitting in the room. He's instilled the life cycle human capital process as central to winning the first R&D Laboratory Management Award. hired 400 next generation or recent graduate scientists and engineers. Average GPA 3.7. I just walked down through the fabrication lab, and I was going through there, and there's guy, and this is like 8 o'clock this morning. Guys in there using, probably $500,000 machines to be able to make high-tech prototypes to be able to put into training to figure out how can we resist against a terrorist attack and other things. But just the attitude and the passion. I said, some of the guys said, do we actually pay you to do this work? And yeah, believe it or not, you do. But I'm telling you, amazing of the people that Jeff's brought in. Engaged over 10,000 students and 600 teachers in STEM-related activities, trained all ERDIC supervisors on performance management, empowered a new generation of employees in light of the baby boomer retirements, and achieved increased hiring of minority and female engineers. Jeff Holland leads people. Third big area is drive results. One of the big themes since I've been in is we've got to deliver the program. When America asks us to step up, we've got to come through on that. We've got to be results-oriented. Sometimes we PowerPoint our way to success, but we've got to be able to see an actionable item at the end of that. We've got to develop and field force protection technologies all over the world, and to be able to make sure where somebody else can't fill that gap, ERDIC has to step up. A lot of efforts with saving the lives of warfighters, developed acclaimed technologies to deny, deter, and defeat IEDs, and developed technologies and detect and defeat clandestine tunnels in Egypt, Israel, Gaza, and homeland. I'm going to tell you something that I'm going to be very cautious on what I say. We do a lot of very, very top-secret programs, top secret. There are programs that our government is looking for very, very high-level expertise on. They come to ERDIC to do that. I'm not going to tell you who those people are. I'm not going to tell you what you guys do. But in the back rooms around here, there's things you're doing for your nation that if you ever knew, you would be surprised the kind of things that ERDIC does. Some of them probably Jeff doesn't even know. Very, very compartmentalized. But they're amazing. You got to get read on. You got to sign a whole mess of forms. You got to be read on these things. It's really complicated. And then I think that, so Jeff, drives results, and you have done that in your career. Not only have you driven results, but you have empowered and instilled that philosophy in all of your employees. We got to be able to make something happen. We can't just talk all day long. We're going to make it happen. And then supply business acumen. I'll say for our congressional friends here, we have to continue to be able to find better ways of saving taxpayers' dollars. I was testifying in Congress yesterday. The federal government has to find ways that we can deliver more and figure how we can do it at a less cost. Jeff is a businessman. He's able to figure out how do we take the money available and get the maximum return on investment and implement these R&D processes, not just in the R&D community, but infused throughout the rest of the world. He's led the S&T initiative supporting improved acquisition, integrated content management, social networking, and new collaboration tools into software applications. Done an awful lot of work with knowledge management. We still aren't there in the Corps of Engineers, but Jeff has been the person trying to push us in the direction to understand the power of knowledge management and technology transfer, and another one of the things he really wants me to keep pushing. And then finally, push to modernize and recapitalize experimental facilities to ensure ERDIC can continue to support the warfighter and the nation in a world-class manner. Jeff Holland, able to supply business acumen. And then the final lens is really this building coalitions. Be able to work side by side with the other services, to be able to work side by side with all of our districts and our divisions, the Corps headquarters, the interagency, academia, and elected officials. A lot of support to the intelligence community on post-blast forensics. Jeff and the team here did a lot of work after 9/11 on things like the Pentagon. How do you make those structures more resilient? A lot of work on the IED realm, specifically with the Joint Improved, the JIDO organization on IEDs in Iraq and Afghanistan. Collaborated very closely with the Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, and others to identify significant challenges for planners, analysts, and operators that impede the ability to accomplish operations in an anti-access area denial. This is a pretty complicated concept of how do we get our forces in somewhere if we're not able to establish a foothold, and Jeff's done a lot of work there. A lot of work with 3D printers. We actually have a printer right now that we've got out in Searle, and there's a phenomenal where they're able to make a concrete bunker with a 3D printer using concrete. And this morning I was down in a laboratory where smaller 3D, making a very, very specialized part for one of the R&D capabilities. But this is cutting edge. This is leading kind of things. The machines, the technology, it's exactly where it needs to be. And then finally, and you probably are pretty aware of it, but we run one of the biggest DoD supercomputers. ERDIC manages and executes the high-performance computing modernization program, an extensive, highly integrated, highly performing computing ecosystem that includes supercomputers and related expertise. So I think a pretty interesting deal. So this is the time when we get to do some innovative things here. I'm going to talk to you about what some of you think, and I'm just going to give you two quick snippets here. We went and asked some people, what do you think about Dr. Holland? You saw some people that were on the TV here. So let me tell you what Lauren Eckert, okay, she's a member of the Emerging Leaders Group and a computer scientist in the IT lab. Lauren, are you here today? I'm not sure you are. Anyway, here's what Lauren said, okay? Dr. Holland has been a great advisor, a listener, and support to me as my mentor over the last 3 years. He has always made himself available to discuss my career and continues to provide me with valuable advice that has helped me become a better researcher, employee, leader, and person. Lauren Eckert. Another great one, Jessica Coleman, ERDIC Environmental Laboratory. Jessica here? Okay? Jessica, stand up. These are your words if I say them wrong, okay? All right? Just for time distance, I'm not going to bring the mic to you, but here's what you said, okay? I've been honored to have Dr. Holland as a mentor. Dr. Holland takes mentoring seriously. Although his schedule is very busy, he always made time to listen and provide insight on any issue I was facing. His leadership and advice have enabled me to have a broader perspective of my career and the possibilities it could hold. Dr. Holland is an excellent example of one who leads by example and is willing to make difficult decisions with the interest of ERDIC and his people. So, Jessica, how long have you worked for us? 11 years. Okay, so let's just let me do a little bit of other thoughts here. So, General Temple, how long was it ago when you were a second lieutenant? More than that, probably, right? Sometimes the most passionate things you can say are not things you say behind a podium and things your speechwriter says. The most passionate things you can say is what's on your heart right now. General Temple, half a minute. Dr. Holland.
Jeff, I gave you a little snippet from Steve Stockton yesterday, and I won't go over that one again, but it was fun working with you. I enjoyed your professionalism, and your candor and feedback was appreciated by me and everyone that I know. So thanks for your leadership, Jeff, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. So Jessica's on one end. Obviously, General Temple, young, a perspiring guy. He's all over there. I got another doctor in here who's a renowned old ERDIC fan here, Dr. Houston, okay? 30 seconds, Jeff Holland.
Oh, no, I don't know if he wants me to talk, because he once claimed that I told him that his selection, recommended him to follow me was a bad idea, but all the other selections would have been worse. But I might have said that in a moment of levity and maybe a couple of drinks, but obviously I recommended that he be my deputy. I went up and talked with the chief engineer, General Van Antwerp, and then after he served for 3 years and I was going to retire, I went up to General Van Antwerp and recommended he be selected, and he has done a remarkable job.
Great job, sir. Thanks so much. So you heard about from a couple of retired employees here, retired leaders. ERDIC always has to be able to be relevant and be able to support commanders in the field. And we're very honored today to have Mike Weir here, obviously the local commander, but the most senior division commander. Mike, couple thoughts?
Thanks, Chief. Well, we get to share the neighborhood of Vicksburg with ERDIC and, of course, Dr. Holland. It's been really awe-inspiring to see how you operate, starting in the Vicksburg district myself. The one thing that I noticed, though, and when you look at the campus and you look at the headquarters on Clay Street or on Walnut, you know, force protection comes up once in a while, and I go, that guy must be really important to be behind this gate and to have that stand up. I'm just sitting here on this corner with Mayor Flags, and I'm going to run to his office, you know, Mayor Flags, if something happens. But something's going on here, and it's an honor to be part of it.
Great comments, Mike. And then obviously we got unbelievable SESs that are here, great leaders all throughout ERDIC. There's a whole line of them right here. I'm just going to pick one at random. Beth, here, you take the mic.
Well, Dr. Holland has driven this organization to be extremely strong. He has always been very clear in the direction in which he wanted us to go. and then drove us further to, as his leaders and on the front line for that, to make sure that we achieve that vision and those goals. So for that, we've become much stronger under his leadership, and we appreciate it very much and the opportunities we've been given. Thank you.
Okay, and one more. You know, we put a seasoned colonel down here to keep everybody in track, and I'm not sure I would call it you're his battle buddy. Obviously, we have a great lot of teams, but Brian, just a couple thoughts. This is somebody you see every single day. You're living the life down here, so just a couple thoughts about this guy.
Sir, you know, you've been through several colonels, and trying to get a colonel to adopt and integrate into this organization is always a challenge, because literally he's got 8 cats and dogs between 1 rogue colonel and 7 directors of labs, not to mention all the STs. And you paint a vision. You allow us to all run into it. Sometimes literally we run past it. But the one thing I really have to say about Dr. Holland is I thought I could see over the horizon. I cannot keep up with how far ahead Dr. Holland can see, and it's always great to be chasing a vision.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. We've got a whole mess of awards to give here. Before I get into the closing part of this, I just want to say, I mean, Jeff does have another dimension. I talked about service a little bit. Volunteers as a Sunday school teacher, a deacon, and a choir member at the Vicksburg Baptist Church. He works in a local crisis pregnancy center, board of director member. He's on the board of trustees for one of the Mississippi College, and when he retires, he wants to learn how to paint better. So maybe someday will you have a painting you'll donate to the center? Oh! Because in the read ahead, I thought this was going to be like a great big painting or something. Ah, okay, I understand. All right. Well, Janet, we'll see how well he does on this. So listen, if you were to think of the big five things that the legacy, what does this stand for? Let's think about the word legacy. The work in force protection, whether it's tunnel detection, critical asset protection, protecting soldiers in the field, or protecting the nation's critical infrastructure, all those things. The bombing of the barracks in Beirut, USS Cole, Murrah building, 9/11 IEDs. This center has done a phenomenal job in force protection and taking care of soldiers. Most of the soldiers, the 90,000 engineers in our Army, when they think of the Corps of Engineers, they think of ERDIC first. They don't think of a district, and they don't think of some civil works project. I remember when I was a brigade commander and I was down here buying engineering centers from you guys to go to Bosnia, ERDIC was the face of the Corps of Engineers to our soldiers. And that's a pretty big accomplishment, I think. That's how you're known, is being able to take care of warfighters on the battlefield, force protection. Second big thing is the unbelievable work they did performing disaster response, Katrina and Sandy. From modeling to engineering to ecosystem restoration, ERDIC excelled in all aspects. Third big thing, I don't know if you're tracking, but St. Helens response. Building sediment retention structures, stabilizing rivers and lakes, watching as nature restored itself after the big boom. Just another whole different dimension of how ERDIC stepped up. Fourth big one, Everglades Science and Engineering. We have to be able to support reasonable development while at the same time protecting the environment. And that's what ERDIC has done, finding ways that we could continue to be able to make all these systems work in harmony. Many facets of scoping studies to huge scale to be able to position USACE to propose solutions in the Everglades in support of one of our districts there. And then finally, the last thing is this high-performance computing and the work you've done there, the things that we have never done before. So I think if you were to think of legacy, is it the new building? Is it those 5 things I talked about? Is it tele-engineering kits? Is it better windows in the Pentagon? Is it concrete and steel? What's Jeff Holland's legacy? I'm telling you, his legacy is not concrete and steel. His legacy is the spark he has lit in all of you, one way or the other, to do things for this nation, to be able to do things for our people, and to be able to do things for ERDIC. So if there's anybody out here that Jeff Holland has ever touched, and you have a little bit of Jeff Holland in your heart, raise your hand. Let's give Jeff a big round of applause, okay?
Okay, thank you, General Simonite. At this time, Mrs. Janet Holland, would you please join General Simonite on the stage? Mrs. Holland is receiving the Outstanding Civilian Service Award and the Army Engineer Association Essayons Award. The Department of Army Outstanding Civilian Service Medal is awarded to Mrs. Janet B. Holland in recognition of her exceptional contributions and support to the U.S. Army Engineer Research and Development Center from March of 1985 through March of 2017. Mrs. Holland's contributions and genuine commitment to ERDIC helped foster community goodwill and contributed to a positive work environment for the organization's civilian team members as well as their families. She was a permanent fixture of support at events and served as a role model, mentor, and encourager for ERDIC spouses. Mrs. Holland acted as a cheerleader and champion for education throughout the Vicksburg community, particularly in the field of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and served as a teacher and director of the First Baptist Church of Vicksburg preschool program. Mrs. Holland's contributions reflect great credit upon her, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the Department of Army.
Let's give Jamie a round of applause.
We have something else. Mrs. Holland is also being awarded the Army Engineer Association Essayons Award in recognition of more than 37 years of genuine volunteer service to the United States Army Engineer Regiment as a dedicated spouse and enthusiastic supporter of the U.S. Army Engineer Research and Development Center.
And this is a very, very distinguished award. It's got a lot of thought in it. Someday we'll let you read the all narrative, but I think at the middle, it's obviously got the engineer castle. It shows the blue star representing our soldiers. It's got the colors of America. But in the middle of it is a diamond. And a diamond represents a spouse and the many, many facets of what a spouse brings. To be able to support, the husband or the wife that's out there, supporting the federal government. And also, a diamond is rock hard, so that no matter how hard things get going, you're going to keep driving on. So just to be able to thank you from the Engineer Regiment for everything to do to stand by your man. Congratulations.
Dr. Holland, will you please join General Simmerline in the middle of the stage? Just read the script.
Do what it says.
I'm doing exactly what it says. Yes, sir, I am. It's good, Counselor. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Holland is receiving the Department of Defense Decoration for Exceptional Civilian Service. Please remain seated during the presentation of today's awards. Dr. Jeffrey P. Holland is presented the Department of the Army Decoration for Exceptional Civilian Service Award in recognition for extraordinary contributions while serving as a Deputy Director and then Director, U.S. Army Engineer Research and Development Center from September 2006 through March of 2017. And since January of 2010, also serving as Director of Research and Development, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. During this period, Dr. Holland displayed an uncanny ability to solve tough problems. He led the development and employment of pioneering force protection technologies, such as the Modular Protective System, and technologies to deny, deter, and defeat improvised explosive devices. After Hurricane Katrina, he led the development and delivery of major technical solutions to predict hurricane surge and assess levee stability for emergency management and flood risk reduction. Dr. Holland's accomplishments are a great credit to him, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the Department of the Army.
Jeff, congratulations on a job very, very well done. ERDIC's a better place, our country's a better place, and our Army is stronger because of you. Phenomenal job. Let's give Jeff a big round of applause.
There's more. Dr. Holland is also being presented the Award for Outstanding Service in the Army Senior Executive Service in recognition for his achievements as a Senior Executive Service member of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers since his appointment in December of 2001. Throughout his career, Dr. Holland demonstrated the highest levels of initiative, competence, and selfless service throughout the execution of programs supporting a total force of quality soldiers and civilians. This commitment to service reflects immense honor on Dr. Holland, the Career Senior Executive Service, and the Department of the Army.
This is signed by Acting Secretary of the Army, Robert Spears. So congratulations, Jeff.
There's more. Dr. Holland is now being presented a 3-star note from General Semonite.
And Jeff, I'll let you read this back at the house later on, but the bottom line, it just says, thanks for 37 and a half years of outstanding service, everything you've done. But I'll just read the last paragraph. Your career has been one of excellence and affirms your commitment and dedication to the Corps. Although you have left, you will always be a member of the Corps family. My best wishes to you for many happy years in retirement. Outstanding job.
One last big thing. Finally, the moment Dr. Holland has been waiting for, his official retirement certificate and pen, or his Walmart greeter pen, as we like to call it around here.
I can hang out with Dick Sager now.
All right, there you go. Are we reading this?
No, you're good.
All right, so this is the actual form that says he's going to retire. Now, we can stop right now. Bottom line, it just says congratulations for absolutely outstanding job. And Jeff, on behalf of everybody here, way to go. Good job. Thank you.
The big one. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present the man of the hour, Dr. Jeffrey P. Holland.
I don't know about you guys, but I would like to meet the guy we've been talking about for the last. I've noted my old branch members making notes along the way and some disgusted faces. Bob Adhow a couple times has gone, that's not the way that happened. Not at all. So, General Semonite, distinguished guests, birthday buddy, and writer of revisionist history. Thank you very much for joining us today in this laboratory that is the place where I started, 37 and a half years ago, almost to the day. I drove up to this place on close to September the 4th of 1979, which some of you will have to Google since it was before you were born. I drove up to the guard and said, I need to get in. I'm coming to work here and I need some help unloading my furniture. And the guard said, if you don't work here, you can't come in. Which, as best I can tell, represents the only person who's ever been disallowed for driving into the front gate of the Waterways Experiment Station. Because in those days, all the gates were open. Those of you that were around will remember that. Remember when the CID came and during the Peacekeeper program, MX missile program, and infiltrated the experiment station. And because of our southern gentility, we kept taking them to the top secret facility where the Peacekeeper missile program was going on and knocking on the door of the old blast load and saying, hey, there's some people out here that want to get in to see what we're doing on the super secret work that's going on the inside. It caused Colonel Evans a great deal of consternation, resulting in the 6 guard shacks that we had for a period of time. Dr. Whalen was remembering that now as he thinks back to those days. Borrowing or paraphrasing from an old line, no person is an island. And as I'm going to share with you, I'm certainly no exception to that statement. My sister's here today, my cousin's here, and they represent very much the beginnings for me. If our mom and dad were here today, they'd be proud. Our parents were not educated people, but not from their own choices. The Second World War came along, and my father did what so many did. And in that Second World War time period, when he came back home to a wife and a child that, interestingly enough, was not me, regardless of how I may look to you today. And he had a choice. Do I go to finish high school? Do I go to college? Or do I do what society really expects, and do I go to work? And he went to work. I honestly believe that both of our parents were, in this day and age, were completely smart enough to have gone to college and to have excelled, honestly. But that wasn't what the day allowed for in those days. Our mother, if she got past the 8th grade, I'm unaware of it. And so the idea of education was a big deal in our house. My sister went to school at a time when our parents didn't have a whole lot of money. In fact, our parents never really had a whole lot of money, if you really get right down to it. The great room at our house, if you were to put a bathroom off that great room, that's about the size of the whole house that I grew up in. Fortunately, my sister's 14 years older than I am, and so she was gone by the time I wanted any room. But she kept bringing her children back. Thus what you represent, the total problematic period of you being small. They're not very much younger than I am in a lot of ways, and so that represents the base. My sister is the matriarch of our family, but even more than that, she's the spiritual basis of our family. She takes that from our grandmother, who was the spiritual basis of all of our family. And her prayer has brought a lot of basis to our family and a lot of blessing. My cousin's here. My cousin is the person that I wanted to be all growing up, because my cousin could do something that I could not do. My cousin could talk to females. Now, I must tell you, it turned out well for me. Okay, the Lord took care of that. Had to bring me to Mississippi to do that, but my cousin, I hated him. I mean, you know, when we were in high school, he could do something that I had no capacity for doing. He could talk to the women in our high school, the cheerleaders, the women. Okay, and even now, those people still talk to him. Okay, we had a conversation with one of the people we graduated from high school with just the other day. He still keeps up with her, and she sent a note to me, and it said this: "You're better looking now than you were in high school." Now, you know, I can come here, at least up till today, and get paid to be smarted off too. So anyway, the truth in that was very damaging, but nonetheless accurate. My cousin was the brother that I never had. And I spent every other Friday night at his house. His sisters were like little sisters to me. His mother was a second mother for me, and in a lot of ways still is. She laughed at my jokes when no one else would, and perhaps still doesn't. Even now, I could call Joanne and she would giggle over the telephone. Okay? No one is an island. I wound up going to Vanderbilt. I wish that a man named Don Rowe was alive. Don Rowe was my advisor at Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky was the better of the two schools, Western Kentucky or Eastern Kentucky. Yes, I'm slinging that straight at you, Robert Whalen. Okay, and so Don Rowe walked up to me one day and said, "Come in here in my office." I said, what have I done? What have I not done now? He said, "Vanderbilt has a free ride for anybody that wants it to go to graduate school. Do you want it?" Sure. He said, "Well, I hope you take it, and I hope they mess over you." That's not the term he used. They're actually preparing me to come here later and deal with things, but that's another story. He made it possible for me to go to Vanderbilt. I actually applied to go to Vanderbilt in February. Those of you that have been in graduate school know that that's fashionably late. Got the word in April and took off in August and went to Vanderbilt. When I was in Vanderbilt, I met a guy named Mike Palermo who was on long-term training from a place called the Waterways Excrement Station. Okay, I'd never heard of this place. And he said, "Why don't you come down here during Christmas and see what it's like?" So I did. And I remember thinking, the most important thing that I want to remember this place by is seeing it in my rearview mirror as I head back toward Nashville. And that was not what our God had in mind. So I report down here. As an aside, I really do wish Don Rowe was alive. I'd like to tell him that what he invested in turned out well. Okay. So I show up down here and I become part of this branch of people. About 2 weeks after I get here, Steve Wilhelms is present when we discover that I'm going to be a numerical modeler. You see, we weren't sure whether I was going to be a numerical or physical modeler up to that point, and then about 2 weeks into my time period being here, Steve had helped me work on a pretty good size physical model outside behind what was the old little concession next to Hangar 1. And we set it up, and I had to run what I think was about 22,000 gallons of city water into it that night. The next morning, I went over to check the model, and the water was gone. And so I ran back from the model all the way back over to the water quality building and ran in and blew into the building, screaming at the top of my lungs, "Someone has stolen our water. Someone has stolen our water." Charles Herbert Tate was the first one to meet me, who immediately said, "We'll get whoever did it." Steve, being a more level-headed individual, said, "Let's go over and see what's happened." So we walked back over, and Steve walked over to the side of this large thing called the Libby model. Mark Dortch will remember this well. Mark was at school, but he got to hear about this not long afterwards. And Steve said, "Do you know what this thing does?" You turn it clockwise to close it. Yes, I had left the valve open in the thing. I'd actually raised the little lake approximately 9 feet during the night, and then almost flooded the little Pentagon that was there next to it in the process. The next day, I was declared to be a numerical modeler and given to Bruce Loftus. There are members of the old branch sitting here. Mark and Steve basically have to do with me coming here. So all of you can blame them. I asked them when I came down here that time, do you think I could work here? As it turned out, the answer was, well, you can be employed here, but we don't actually know whether you can work here. But Mark and Steve fought for me to be able to work here when Bruce and Dennis Smith didn't want me. And Bruce still admits that he didn't want me, and talked to him the day before yesterday. Okay, it was this old branch. This old branch, by the way, has a great deal to do with what I think, with the way that I do stuff, with a lot of the stuff we do in human capital. Because everything we do in human capital is the result of everything that I did wrong while I was trying to be a branch chief. Yep. And honestly, my relative immaturity at being a branch chief resulted in Richard Price having an entire career here. But that's another story. So Richard, Steve, Stacy, Mark, Calvin Bowie back there, Lauren, who single-handedly saved my PhD by backing up my computer the day with my dissertation on it the day before I reformatted my hard disk. Yeah, I'd have killed myself. Yeah. You remember now? Okay. Again, no one is an island, least of all me. Secretaries. Emily, where are you? Emily Averett, for those of you that don't know, has a severe mental disorder that has resulted in her being my secretary 3 different times. Emily's like family to us. So is Debbie. Lauren helped enormously in the early years. Carolyn Abels was a secretary. Thea Offord was a secretary at times. Doris Bolin was my secretary in ITL. Edna was my secretary for a period of time, but she was really Jim's secretary and actually told me that a number of times. Okay. Linda Parker was a great help in a number of days. There are so many people that help along the way. And then, of course, there's Debbie. And I don't know where Debbie is, but Debbie's going to blubber wherever she is. So let's just say then there's Debbie. Okay, all friends, all people that have just done wonderful things to support us in the stuff that's going on. It was Emily that came running to the hospital when I wound up in the hospital in D.C. Told them she was my sister. Took over. Those people discharged me out of fear of Emily. Okay, no one is an island. Okay, I got to build off of what these 2 people over here have done. I build off of what Robert Whalen and Jim Houston did here. Okay. Everything that you heard that was said that was attributed to me is stuff that you have done. Every single thing. This row right here of laboratory directors, it's stuff that you lead that we get to take credit for. No ERDIC director will ever actually be a failure. Because as long as you succeed, there's not any way for us to fail. All we have to be able to do is write. I did this. I led these people. I am so good at doing. Okay. No one is an island. And then you've got my family. Young people, I'm very proud of you. You know that. I We'll never say it again, I promise. And then to my wife, you've got to understand, in all the years that we've been married, my wife has not slept well for any night that I've been gone. And I've been gone for about 50% of the time. She raised our children to be who they are with me gone, which probably suggests that they would have been much worse had I been there. So perhaps that is a blessing in the long run. Okay. We're a team. And the Lord did that. Nobody should ever wonder. Someone suggested to me, and not too terribly long ago, that I take a job in Washington after retiring, and I could just commute. I don't own the capacity to be who I am without her. Okay, and that's not just something to say today. She knows that. So for all of you, I just want to say, I know you've been sitting here a long time, and you're thinking, good heavens, will he stop? And yes, I will. No one at all is an island. I believe, very much believe, that the Lord put people like you in my world. People like Calvin Bowie, who's been with me from the time that I got here. People like Charlie Berger, who actually taught me finite elements and then was surprised that I could repeat to him exactly what he said to me. People like Bob Bernard, the Reverend E. Harvest Merkel, who actually had more to do with me finishing my dissertation than anyone on my committee. And then folks like my brother Scotty Swilly, who's been my prayer partner for 2 decades. The Lord's made this all possible as far as I'm concerned. You may have a different view of things, and that's fine. No one is an island, and because of that, we're all better. Thank you.
First Lieutenant Daniel Marcy will now present Mrs. Holland with the flowers on behalf of Dr. Holland. In keeping with our tradition, I ask you to please stand. You're standing, I'm reading. And join us in singing the Engineer and Army songs. The words are provided on the last page, back of the brochure. I'm going to stand away from the mic. For the team, you can call me an engineer soldier. The warrior spirit has been my dream. Essay on whether in war or peace, we will bear our better all right. Essay on serve America and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Okay, Events such as these are not possible without a lot of work behind the scenes. Please join me in applauding the efforts of the ERDIC support team who worked tirelessly to make today's activities a success. For those attending the luncheon in the Information Technology Laboratory that begins at 11:30, about 8 minutes ago, there's people over there eating right now. No, I'm just kidding. Please make your way to the Information Technology Lab at this time. You may pay for your luncheon ticket at the door if you haven't done so already. Hostesses will be on hand to show you to your tables. Ms. Pat Sullivan will serve as the Mistress of Ceremonies and will give instructions as you arrive and are seated. We will begin lunch once the official party arrives. This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you for coming. Essayons.